What if Deku got one fruit early? And I might do what if Deku had Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood powers or alchemy. But I love saying that. But yeah. So I'm gonna start this off whenever they're going on the bus. When they're on the bus, the question sparks up about quirks. And people go explain quirks. And Deku tells them to explain both of their quirks. And he explains that One for All is a complete enhancement, he says. Enhances my senses and all that. Beyond natural. And that Black Whip is practically a energy that becomes physical whenever I try to make it outside my body and stuff like that. And anger, I am the hardest to control. And he also says that the way to activate his enhancement quirk correctly is to not to focus in one area, but focus in all the areas. So, and he explains if I would have focused on my 100%, my 30% in my one arm, it would strain it. And he says the way to activate Black Whip is to think of grabbing something. And he says the first time I stepped with this quirk was that I woke up one day and my alarm fell down on the ground. And I looked at it and I stuck out my arm before I can get it. Black Whip activated and destroyed it pretty much. And they say, so you didn't have Black Whip throughout your life? He says no. And he also says that, explains that my enhancement quirk is actually a stockpile quirk. Saying it's more like the energy of my family kind of got passed down to me through my quirk, he says. So then he says probably one of my family members had this quirk. And he says he doesn't even know if it could have been like whenever quirks first started and all that. And I'm going to say there is studies saying that quirks should have been around for a long time. And that's when Froppy brings that up. And he says, yeah. He says if that's true, it could have went back all the way to where people thought yokais were real and all that, and that was just family members of mine, and I got their ability. Or he also says it might be like either a mutation of their ability with mine's, and all that, and stuff like that. And this Froppy says that your enhancement quirk is kind of like All Might's, because the strength and all, but your logic of how fast you guys move would call tunnel vision. And wouldn't that mean All Might has tunnel vision? Or does that mean that his senses are enhanced also? And can't All Might take a lot of shots? And people start thinking, yeah, his logic on his quirk is practically would apply to All Might's quirk. And that's when Ida says, if I use my max speed, I'll get tunnel vision too. And they say max speed. He says there's this move called reciprocal burst throughout my family, and all that, saying that it causes me to be able to go even faster than normal. But downfall is that my engines will be weaker for a while until they cool down. But then they get to the USJ, as Sarah says, be quiet, get off the bus. They're walking out onto the bus, and they meet 13 while Uraraka's fangirling out, while Deku is isn't a fanboy, and he likes heroes, but he's not a fanboy. And then 13 says about how quirks can be dangerous, and he thinks about his quirk, saying if I use too much percent on some person, I could probably kill them. And Black Whip is dangerous too. Yeah, my video cut out, so yeah, it might have this weird, different flow of voices. But yeah, he thinks about how his quirk could be dangerous. That's whenever a portal opens up and Ida says, "Isn't this supposed to be a rescue mission or a test, not a villain test?" That's whenever they say this is not a test. These are the actual villains. It tells them to stand back, and that's whenever Deku tells Ida to run and stuff. And Ida says that you're faster, but he says that my quirk is long range and I can help Ozawa from back here. And Ozawa agrees with that because he says that I can't defeat all these villains by my own, even though I'm a pro. And I'm mostly because he knows Deku has One for All, and that apparently his One for All has even more abilities, gives him abilities beyond All Might. So he tells Deku people with long range quirks, which I don't think there's a lot, but I'm gonna say Momo creates cannons and all that. And instead of 13 getting sucked up, I'm gonna say Ozawa stays up there for longer, and he cancels Cordery, so everybody is still together. And this will be a key difference, but the dude with the bud enhanced quirks, he gets told to summon some bugs to distract them, and bugs start surrounding people, and Zawa starts swinging and destroying people pretty much, while Deku's shooting Black Whip, sticking to people and trapping them, I'm gonna say, and he swings them behind them, while I'm gonna say, what's his name? I'm gonna say Todoroki starts freezing them where they can't break loose at all. And also, Todoroki is shooting ice for a shield for everybody else, for all the members of UA. And this is whenever Aizawa jumps down, and Deku decides to jump down, but whenever he does, he says, what was it called? I said it was like, he says, Black Whip arms, with creating arms that are practically, I would say this mode's good at throwing things, but not good at defending. So this is whenever Kurashima, he tells Kurashima to jump onto him and harden. And I'm gonna say there's a whole bunch of villains, and he says combo style, and what's his name? I'm totally bad at names, but Harden dude goes with it, and he says, red gun, throwing him through every villain, destroying stuff, and ultimately, he kind of flips over, and he stops and slides, and he goes to punch in his, and this is whenever my cat's in here now. Yeah. But that's whenever Deku calls him back, and this is whenever they said, red vase with Deku swinging him around and hitting people. And I'm gonna say Kurashima told them the limit, so after a while, Deku pulls him back and throws him over the ice wall, let him get a little rest and stuff. This is when Todoroki, I'm gonna say Momo, gets the idea of Todoroki make ice balls. Right now, all the villains from every area is coming towards them, and All Might is coming, and stuff like that, but because All Might isn't injured, so it took him longer for him to get back because he was even farther into Tokyo and stuff. I think they're in Tokyo, I'm not completely sure. But yeah, so he has ice balls, which Deku's chucking at people. And pretty much knock villains down. And this is one for pretty much they just made a whole bunch of combo moves. Icicle Avalanche, which is pretty much Deku destroying some ice from Todoroki, throwing it into the air really high up. No, it would be Icicle Rain. Pretty much hitting villains down with like a hailstorm, pretty much. So all these villains are getting taken down. I was always impressed at how these these high schoolers can do all this. And he starts doing that weird smile that he does, saying these will be good heroes. And Mineta tells, because Black Whip is energy, I think. So Mineta, he would make it where Mineta's balls can't stick to him and stuff. So Mineta has a whole bunch of balls laid out, and he says, Mineta says, this is all I can give you while he's bleeding out. He drops down. This is when Deku says, thank you, and chucks, he says, sticky ball shotgun, with the balls bouncing off of each other. Or, yeah, bouncing off each other, shooting everywhere, sticking to people, and taking people down. Well, not taking them down, but then Todoroki keeps on freezing them to defeat them. Or hold them down, pretty much. Whenever all the heroes get there, let me explain something. Pretty much almost every villain half of the villains are taken down. This is when Kurogiri says, send out the Nomu and stuff. Whenever the Nomu comes out, he tells them to attack those people up there. Whenever he says this, he goes up there, but because Ozawa's not hurt, and he comes up there, Ozawa says, cancel, pretty much, with Deku, and they say using Black Whip and stuff. He uses Black Whip, causing sticking around Nomu, but Nomu's physical strength is already really high and stuff. So he instantly goes through Deku, because Deku hold him down for, I want to say, a good 30 seconds. Oh, poor thing. But yeah. So he goes for Deku. Wow, I'm going to say his quirk of regeneration chakra is still off. And he tells, what's her name, Momo, to give him like a blade of some kind. And she says, why? And he says, because that thing's not human. And she gives him like a sword with a blade on it. And he takes the blade, or I say he gives him a spear, and he chucks the spear, and it's like a huge spear, going straight through the Nomu's chest because of shock absorption and its cutting force, with a shock of wind behind it, causing the Nomu to fly into the ground, getting impaled. And this was a double-siding, this was like a, it kind of like stopped the other end of it to slide off where the Nomu can get up. So this causes the Nomu to be impaled there forever, because it takes it a while to regenerate, and that's whenever he tells Momo, or tells them to give them some food. I'm just going to say the dude that can make cakes, the sugar dude, just brought cake, and she starts eating it where she can make other ones. And they make 4 other ones with Deku chucking them into the Nomu, pinning it completely to the ground and stuff. So now the Nomu's alive because they don't want to kill it because they know it can regenerate and all, but the blade stopped the regeneration. They to tame the Nomu with them freezing it, and I'm gonna say, which they're like punching spikes into it, pretty much tiny other spikes, not the big ones, and stuff like that. And this is whenever the heroes come, and because there still is more villains, and they're taking down a few, but they're all worn out by now, or they're a little worn out, but Deku's perfectly fine. And he tells Todoroki to defend them all, and Deku goes full power, pushing his limits to 30 or 40%. And Deku runs off, and people see the drastic increase of speed. And this is whenever they see how big his shockwaves are. It almost looks like it's like not. It's like a little like half times bigger, 50% times bigger, and stuff like that. They seen his speed increase and the strength of his whips got even stronger. I'm gonna say giving him 7 whips now. So he has 7 whips up here. And that's when he says, whatever. And he makes his black whip. I call this is the shockwave cannon. It pretty much makes a cylinder around his hand with him activating One for All, and pretty much it builds up energy inside the thing, which I'm constantly putting air pressure into it and stuff like that. And this makes an air pressure cannon pretty much. This pretty much is even stronger than 100% punch, but he only has one of these with him, and it takes a while to load them. They're pretty much kind of like Bakugo's grenade gauntlets with his pressure of wind. But it's worth it because how strong it is, because it's stronger than 100%. I won't give you a specific string, but yeah, the heroes come and they have the actual Nomu alive, so they can tell if it's like a not even have a mind, and they have more things to test it on and stuff, and they figure out who the body parts are belonging to and stuff, the shock absorption and the regeneration, and they discover that the regeneration is so high that there's no record of that high levels of regeneration and stuff like that. That's where I'm going to leave it off today. Goodbye.